So the first thing you'll see right away is pretty much a typical regular desktop from Windows. You have your taskbar below, you've got your recycle bin, regular background, that sort of thing. You'll see some of the visual cues have changed a little bit. They're trying to go with a more modern flat UI for the icons and that sort of thing. Same thing for the running programs and going across the board. Now, one of the things everybody will be happy about, I think, for the most part, is the start menu. As you can see here, it's a little bit different. It's got your typical Windows 8 type feel to it. However, it is not as big, so it doesn't take over your entire screen when you go to open it. However, the tiles are still manageable. You could still move them. You could still create new groups. You can do whatever you want with it, or resize them, move them, unpin them, pin them, whatever you want to do with them. On the other side, you'll see they're kind of divided into two panes here. So you've got your typical places, the most used items, and all of your apps all in one place. This does make it a little bit neater than what we've seen before with the Windows 8 offering when it was kind of still in development. I think this is still kind of in development as well. I think they'll work on this a little bit more. There's a few kinks here and there that I've noticed with the way it works, and some of the things aren't updating still, so I think they still need to make some references to Windows 10 and the way some of these applications work. So going forward, what we'll do, show you here as well, if you wanted it maximized, you could do that as well, and you can save that as well. So if you wanted it to look like Windows 8, you could still do that. However, it doesn't disappear altogether, so you have your taskbar, you could still type something, search your computer, and that sort of thing. So finally, one of the most major announcements that Microsoft came out with was Cortana on the desktop. So here she is. I just put in tester for now just to make this video, but you can see that it brings up typical news, stocks you watch, whatever else it can learn from you. Now, to let you know, it does interfere a little bit into your privacy there. It'll search some things, it'll go through your mail, it'll go through whatever else you give it access to give you the appropriate notifications and that sort of thing. So not unlike Google Now, it does look through those things and pick them up. It is kind of weird to give this kind of information to Windows, as we have traditionally never had to give your location or anything along those lines, your information, your email, your things that you follow, news that you read, weather that you search, that sort of thing. It just follows everything. So that's not something that some people will look forward to as a loss of privacy. However, if you did want to use Cortana to help you out, you do have to use your Microsoft account to sign up. You can't just have it activated. And it follows your account everywhere you go so that it knows everything about you together. So one of the cool features about this is what's called a notebook. All the others are pretty much self-explanatory, but the notebook is something that tracks all of your interaction with Cortana. So it tells you everything that it has on you. Unlike Google Now, you can't tell, hey, is it, what does this thing know about me? What does Google Now know? Well, in Cortana, what you can do is actually remove these items if you don't like them. So there we go, we saw a little bit of an issue there. Until I clicked in there, you couldn't actually see that you could scroll. I haven't really updated yet, but so it's kind of pre-filled with general information that it will fill in later on. But what you can do once it's in there, or so we've been told by Microsoft, is actually click on these and select them and remove them if you don't want Cortana to keep track of them. So you're able to talk to Cortana a lot more so like a real personal assistant, less so than a Google Now or a Siri, where it just only works per query or whatever you ask it to. So I'll just give you a quick demonstration. Hopefully it'll work, because sometimes this has a little issues connecting with Microsoft. Hopefully they'll work those kinks out in the future. Hey Cortana. So usually has to think a little bit. By the time it connects, comes back, there's a little bit of load on my network, so it might not be the fastest thing in the world, but
something went wrong.
There we go.
Try again in a little bit.
We have received that a few too many times in this Windows 10 release, which is something I did notice. So I think Cortana's still a little bit buggy, but let's try it one more time. Hi Cortana, how can you help me? So there it goes with voice detection. which I would say is really fast. Now, it's going to bring up a web browser and try to explain some things, that sort of thing. Usually it's pretty smart from what we've seen as a test, but let's see. What is the weather like right now? So I'm really impressed with the voice recognition on this. It is quite fast. However, I see it's still missing the integration that usually is, what Microsoft told us we would see, where the weather would pop up right in here, it would be an extension of Bing and that sort of thing. So I think it's still in the works, but she does reply and answer to certain, quips and Easter eggs like you would find in Siri, etc. So here we go. Cortana, how old are you? Oh, let's try that again. Cortana, how old are you? Seems not to be picking up that last word sometimes.
My framework is new, but my wisdom is as old as the internet.
So there we go. She knows how to joke. Anyway, continuing on, one of the major updates and releases would also be the Xbox application. This will allow you to game either on your Windows 10, PC, tablet, etc. And what it does is literally allow you to play any game that you have on an Xbox or anything along those lines right on your Windows 10 computer. Now, I don't have Xbox, so I won't be able to show this off to you or anything like that, but it would have been nice to see. I don't believe it's actually fully ready to be open and out there by Microsoft even yet, though. But what it does also allow is a DVR feature, and it also supports DirectX 12. So what you can do, again, is game from your Xbox on top of your Windows 10 tablet or PC, which I think will be pretty interesting for some of you gamers out there. Now, one of the major news that Microsoft has released is what's called the Project Spartan. Now, this is going to be a brand new browser, completely brand new, nothing to do with Internet Explorer, because they want to get away from that moniker. They're actually going to stop supporting it after the next iteration of Internet Explorer, just because Internet Explorer has always been known to support everything previous. They want to be backwards compatible all the time, and they just realize that they can't keep up with the likes of Mozilla and Google Chrome, etc. So what they needed to do was embrace something new, go with the newer technology, in with the new, out with the old. So that's something that they have done. Now, this is Internet Explorer here on Windows 10. It's just your, very typical Internet Explorer 11, nothing that you haven't seen before. They did include a little feedback button that you could send to them if you wanted to let them know, hey, this page doesn't work or whatever along those lines. So that's definitely something to look forward to. Their browser, Project Spartan, will actually support all the newer technology that's out there for putting animation in the browser, HTML5, CSS3, all of that sort of stuff. So it's supposed to be a beautiful browser, and hopefully we'll see something amazing in the next release, and hopefully Microsoft won't disappoint. So there we go, just a couple images. You can't really tell that it's anything too crazy, but supposedly it'll have some tool tips and things that pop out a little easier. It'll look a little newer, meaner, leaner, and hopefully run a little bit faster as well. So here's to hoping that something good will be there. Now, another thing that they have released that is a little bit interesting is what's called the multitasking strip here that you have. So between your applications, so if we'll open a few here just to give you a quick peek, what it'll do is it'll resize it to the window that it's currently at. And so it makes it a little bit more intuitive. It could see a little bit more of the screens. It takes up a little bit more of the screen, not the typical that you saw with Windows 8, etc. So one of the other things that this does for you here is this multitasking little helper here with Snap Assist, which is also something that has been in the works with Microsoft for a while. But basically what we can do before was snap it, to the side. But now what it does is it offers you a really quick way to, select, hey, I want the store to be on this side, or I want, another browser to be on that side. So as soon as you snap something to one of the grids, what it'll do is pop up the other one. So What you can also do is snap to a corner. So for instance here, I'm sorry about that, let's grab that, pop it in a corner. It'll ask you, hey, what do you want in the last corner? So it's a very intuitive way to snap, compare, that sort of thing. It works really good from what I've noticed. Unfortunately, some of the floating Windows apps don't really correspond well. They try to keep their size and don't conform to the snap grids. However, this is something a bit of a welcome thing for most of the IT type folk that do like to compare files and folders or have to search through things, and I'm sure that'll help a lot of office workers as well. Now, one of the other things you'll notice here is that it auto resizes. As soon as you're pulling it away, it just goes right back to what it was. You don't have to mess around with it. Seems pretty intuitive, pretty quick. And again, this multitasking switch now with Alt and Tab keys, which is something really neat. It animates all the windows. Everything's working just like it would if you're playing a movie. You'll see the movie. You'll see the animations just like we did there on Google. And it also keeps the aspect ratio for the files, so it doesn't just minimize everything into tiny icons that you can't tell what's going on with. So it's something as well, welcome feature. Unfortunately, they did get rid of get rid of our little flippy waterfall effect that we used to have before. That's something that some people might miss, so just look out for that. Hopefully you don't mind too much, and we'll go from there. Now, one of the interesting things that Windows does offer now is the command prompt as well, which has been updated. So not that many of you will care too much about this, but what you can do going forward is actually copy and paste right in there. So for instance, let's grab this, copy, and what we're going to do is use a keyboard shortcut, Ctrl-V. Boom, it's in there. Not groundbreaking, of course, I know, I understand. However, what this does do is get rid of that quite a hindrance and annoyance where you had to right-click and click paste and that sort of thing. So this is a welcome addition for those people that work in the IT field or have to do testing and that sort of thing. So one of the other things, not much to show you here, but you still do see a little bit of a difference between the folders and between actual Windows apps, such as Store, Xbox, that sort of thing. They float in their own windows. They don't go instantly full screen and annoy the crap out of you. So they do work a little bit better. However, all of these applications and browsers, etc., they're going to be all cross-platform and universal apps across all devices. Outlook, all the other ones are all touch support now. So going forward, they're all going to work the same across Windows Phone, across Windows Laptop, keyboard or tablets, regular desktops, anything. So it should be the same going forward. Hopefully we'll see an improvement in some of the apps that used to bug us quite a bit within Windows 8, where they would just go full screen, get in your way, not work correctly. So hopefully that's good going forward. Now, Windows 10 has also released a lot of items for business, and what they have done is actually increased a lot of the security and other things that we could talk about in a different video going forward. But one of the things that businesses will hop onto right away is that Windows 10 is not Windows 8. It doesn't have that stigma of, hey, my users won't know what to do, they won't know how to use it, and that sort of thing. So there are some differences. However, they're not really that bad. So one of the things that I will mention, though, is there are some gripes about this Microsoft Windows 10 that I have, and I will actually throw that into the next video. Thank you for watching. Have a great day. Hopefully you enjoyed this little preview of what Windows 10 looks like, and if you have any questions, go ahead, leave them down in the comments, and I will answer everything as much as I can. I'll keep updating this release. We'll see what goes on, if Windows introduces anything new, if there's anything you want me to try with Windows 10, and get back to you, see how it works. Just let me know, and we'll go from there.